Hello and welcome to episode 17 of the Regista Football Podcast. My name is Jack. Once again, I'm joined here by my good friend Ben. How are you doing?
Hey, Jack, I'm here.
You're here?
I'm here, Jack.
And how are you doing?
It's not the end of the world, but it has been a disappointing weekend. The most disappointing was the 2-2 draw for SDFC. Nothing else happened that is of note this weekend for me.
Yeah, so that's all we're going to discuss today, right?
Exactly. We're just going to talk about SDFC.
Exactly. Tell the people where we are, actually.
Today we're in Taproom Beer Company out here in North Park.
Yeah.
I've always driven by this place. I've never been inside. It
Me
looked
neither.
like a cool vibe. It's a nice vibe, man.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying
It's
it.
like a good place to work,
Mhm.
I think. They've been making beer for a really long time, Taproom.
Yeah.
Like I said before we come in here, I know the brewer who makes beer here, and they've always done a good job whenever I've had their stuff. What are we drinking?
We're drinking an ESB today.
An
I thought it was
ESB.
appropriate for the football.
Exactly. Befitting to talk about some Premier League football and some League Cup football. Although we're not going to discuss that, are we?
No. We're just talking about SDFC today.
Just SDFC.
Just SDFC.
Let's get into the order of operations.
Let's get
man.
into it,
Tell us
yeah.
what we're going through today.
Yeah, we're going to do a Premier League review first, Brighton, Liverpool. Then we're going to go into a small review of EFL Cup Final, Arsenal versus Manchester City. And then we're actually going to do an overview of what else is going on in the league. So we have a title race.
Yes.
We're going to review that based on what our predictions were a couple weeks ago. Like, were we right? Were we on course?
It's a good question, and they will find out. We're also going to cover the Champions League race. For some reason, we neglected to do Villa the first round, mainly because we thought that they'd be solid in there.
Yeah.
But they've managed to be dragged into it. Same as relegation, and then your best friends, Tottenham Hotspur. Again, didn't expect them to be in it, but they are, so we have to talk about them a little bit. But let's get into it then. So Brighton versus Liverpool. Liverpool, early in the morning, play Brighton away at the Amex. I woke up at 5 a.m. for that game, which was, for lack of a better term, the first fuck of the episode. Fucking terrible. Midweek Champions League victory ultimately was a false dawn for Liverpool. They get served up on the seaside by the Seagulls, and Champions League qualification, at least for me now, is a doubt.
Wow.
It helps that Chelsea are rubbish, and we'll get into that a bit later. But let's talk about lineups for Liverpool. Alisson is injured again, surprise, surprise. So Mamadashvili started for him.
What's going on with him now?
I think it's hamstring problems again, man.
Okay.
He made an Instagram post around the time saying he's injured and he's going to be out for a while. I think some of that is to withdraw from Brazil. But at the same time, I can see the way he kicks the ball now is so weird. Like, imagine trying to kick without putting any strain on your hamstrings. That's how he's kicking the ball. Like, very weird type of side foot. Like, almost using his hip as the driver is kicking the ball.
Okay.
It's so strange. Then Frimpong starts at right back. He's managed to stay fit. Gakpo starts centrally. And then Wirtz is then in the second line. So Liverpool play that 4-2-2 again. Grav McAllister, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, and then Gakpo and Ekitike. I personally don't like Gakpo up front, but Salah is injured, so he couldn't play in this game. And start with James Milner in midfield, which was a bit of a surprise to me. Mainly because, James Milner is incredibly fit, so he can cover a lot of distance, but I didn't expect him to start like a fucking 40-year-old in the midfield against Liverpool, but they did. And then Yankuba Minteh starts instead of Mitoma, who had a bit of a knock apparently. Yeah. He eventually does come on in the game, but let's talk about the game a bit. So I'd say the start of the game is, how can I explain? Liverpool look good at the start of the game. They're moving the ball quite quickly, lots of rotations from midfield, but the game changes, like the process of the game for Liverpool changes when Ekitike goes down injured.
Early, like in the fourth minute, right?
It was early. James Milner, our beloved James Milner, he puts a reducer in on Szoboszlai. Then he puts another reducer in on Ekitike, and Ekitike has to go off for it. Yeah. Apparently, it was just a dead leg.
Okay.
But I find it bizarre that you'd go off injured for a dead leg. I guess if it's bad enough, you would.
Yeah.
But yeah, he ends up going off, and then we end up putting fucking Curtis Jones on. And do you know what my issue is with that? It's kind of like, if we have an intended shape at the start of the game, by putting Curtis Jones on, you're killing the shape, essentially. And I still think they try and play the same way.
And then didn't you have Ngoma on the bench? Like, why would you put him in early at that point?
This is the argument for me. So when I try and think of, okay, you need to replace a guy in the front line, replace it with the closest thing we have. I don't think Chiesa is capable of playing 90 minutes of football.
Yeah.
So I understand why they don't bring him on, but Rio Ngamoa is on the bench.
Yeah.
He's already shown that he can have an impact in games. That's who I wanted to see come on. But they bring in Jones. Verts ends up playing in the forward line, which is a complete waste of what he's good at.
Yeah.
And then from there, really, I'd say Liverpool play okay from there. And really, we concede off of we concede against the run of play. I think Liverpool are having a decent amount of control before we concede. Where the goal goes, I believe there's a throw-in that is really dealt with quite poorly by Liverpool. At the left side, where the ball comes from eventually to create the cutback for the goal, for some reason, Frimpong decides to close down the guy that's throwing the ball and has no support. What ends up happening then is Minte picks up the ball and puts in a perler of a cross. A sensational cross.
Yeah.
Gets headed back across. I think it's from Gomez. And then Welbeck emphatically finishes it. XG of 0.28 and XGOT of 0.96. You're not stopping that as a goalkeeper, really.
Absolutely not.
I would like, personally, to see Mamadashvili claim it.
Yeah.
Mainly because I understand the trajectory of the cross is difficult, but the header cross was put back into the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
I want to see him get a hand to it. He doesn't, and Welbeck finishes. And I don't know. Do I say we don't deserve to be 1-0 down at that stage? It's debatable because we don't create a bunch, but we still have a semblance of control in the game when they do score. And when it's 1-0, it's kind of like, well, fucking here we go again type of thing. And Brighton kind of changed their structure. They get deeper. They start to give Liverpool a bit of territorial dominance. And from there, I don't see Liverpool creating great chances in that situation, but Kirkes plays a blinder, really.
Yeah.
Talk to them what happened then.
Yeah. There's the ball gets cleared out, and then it gets passed. No, it gets booted up, and then Dunk is trying to head it backwards to his keeper, right? Thinking it's safe. Kirkes notices immediately as soon as the ball gets cleared over, and he runs in behind, gets behind Dunk, and just kind of taps it over. The keeper, and
crazy finish.
Great finish. Has to have the best touch to get that in. It goes underneath the bar, bounces across the line, and then bounces in, which is also a harder kind of finish to do at that point. I thought that was very bright of him to be able to make that run in. He knew exactly what
he was Brighton of him.
Yeah. By Brights in of him to do that. You don't see a lot of that, but that is a fun goal to see.
It is
something that comes out of nowhere, but also because of individual contribution, ingenuity to anticipate the kind of play coming up.
I like putting it that way. I also think it's a weird decision from Dunk. Because if Kirkes can run onto it, it means the goalkeeper is too far away.
Yeah. And
what is impressive about it is Kirkes does get to take a touch.
Yeah.
And the finish is ridiculous from a fullback.
Yeah.
Puts us 1-1. At that stage, I'm like, okay, Liverpool can kick on. XG of that chance is 0.52, and the XGOT is actually lower, but because it's a chip, it doesn't really make much of a difference. I'd say a lot of the way the rest of that half goes, it's Liverpool. And we saw this parts of this season already, where Liverpool have a bunch of midfielders on the pitch. They're all essentially looking for runners, but there are no runners. The runner we did have was Ekitike, and he went off. We don't have Salah, who can run onto the end of things. So it's a bunch of people that want the ball into feet. Liverpool playing really slowly and pedestrian, especially in the second phase. And from my perspective, when Verts is asked to play in the forward line, he's then expected to do a little bit too much because at times he was being required to drop deep and pick up the ball to facilitate build-up because Liverpool's build-up is shocking. Yeah, just really segmented. Ultimately, Minte and Kadioglu, who I actually rate kind of highly. I think Kadioglu's a really good footballer. Giving Liverpool a bunch of problems. Midfield too slow to help Frimpong. Out wide often. And he's basically dealing with an overload consistently. I think he does okay.
Yeah. I feel like Brighton definitely had a game plan of how to overload that midfield and then do a quick ball in. Every single goal that they had was actually a ball crossed over to the far post and then a cut back in. Even the offside goal that they had. Wait, no, that wasn't offside. That was onside. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Could have been offside.
Could have been offside. It looked offside when I was watching it. So
it's funny because actually we'll touch on that in a minute. But I have a couple of questions for you regarding that. So going into halftime, Did you know the last time Liverpool scored in a first half away from home was Newcastle in August?
No,
Wrap your head around
no. First time they've scored away from home
that. In the first
in the first half was in
August.
Wow.
That is wild to me.
That's insane. That is not a stat for a championship side.
It's not a great team, is it?
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the first half, Liverpool edge XG 0.81 to 0.67 of Brighton. We have 8 shots with 3 on target. The one big chance comes from Kirkes. Sirens, they're coming to take on a slot away. Brighton create 2 big chances. One of those big chances was missed. I think the other one was a header from Gomez. Ultimately, it's a pretty even first half. They share ball possession 50-50. I don't feel too threatened at this stage. Liverpool go into the second half, and I'm going to tell you this. I think it's Liverpool's worst second half of the season.
Why is that?
They have no impact on the game. Like, the attacking is slow and pedestrian. The way Liverpool press in that second half, they basically press in this, like, 4-3-2-1 shape, and we're already conceding a bunch of dangerous situations from the sides. What you're basically doing then is you're narrowing up because of that formation and then isolating Frimpong even more. It just seemed like a bizarre decision for me. And I'll be honest, like a measure of a good manager is what the subs do when they come on. I cannot tell you a bunch of times this season, outside of the start of the season, which the subs were very impactful in that like 6-game winning run, they make us worse, Ben. Consistently. Like, his subs make us worse. I don't know if that's because we have poor squad depth and the subs that he can make aren't adequate to play that specific role, or just he is making poor decisions. What do you think?
I think the hard part is because the subs have to come into a game that the direction isn't clear on what needs to be done.
Yeah.
They're not impactful.
I think you're right.
And because they come in and are trying to execute on the direction rather than playing football.
Yeah.
Because I think the most impactful subs are the ones who watch the game, know what's going wrong, come in and they change the game to fix what's wrong.
That's a really good point. Like they identify where the space is.
Yeah.
They know how to play into that space and what they need to do to impact the game.
Yeah.
I think a lot of like the subs he's made this year for me is often, have you heard the term like square pegs, round holes?
Yeah.
What I found it tends to do, especially as games go on and Liverpool aren't winning games, and I've discussed this on the podcast before, where they'll make subs that aren't like for like and then change the attacking structure or the build-up structure so much to where that process that we have established doesn't work anymore because everyone is in round holes, essentially. Yeah. It's really frustrating to watch.
I mean, that also that does come with not having the kind of depth that you kind of need from injury. So you aren't able to play the same game. You have to change the game and adapt. And then that makes everyone on the pitch more confused about what to do.
Like, do we press? Do we go? Or do we stay? And I think you can see that at times when Liverpool players are like out of possession. It's like, do we go? Do we stay? Unrelated to this game, but I saw a PPDA chart from Liverpool in 18-19. The PPDA was 4.
What?
4. That is how Jurgen pressed.
Wow.
It's now 11. So it's gone down a lot.
Yeah, they're having 7 more touches. Wow, that is wild.
Yeah, so like that's how our out of possession structure has changed. Don't get me wrong, it changed a little bit under Jurgen too. So I think he realized like the squad was aging and couldn't press the same way they did before. But you see it really obviously in this game for me. Like one of the biggest emphases that I had was you need to deal with the ball playing centre backs correctly. And I think where they do a decent job in doing that. But I still think Dunk and Van Hecke at times have too much time and space on the ball. Let's get into the second half. Brighton, I noticed, completely changed how they pressed in that second half. They were quite, I'm not going to say passive in the first half, but they weren't pressing in the first phase as heavily, but they were really after us in the start of this. I liked what we were doing in terms of like overall position when it came to Florian Wirtz, but what it meant, because he was finding spaces much more regularly in half spaces, it means that we didn't have anyone to occupy the last line that wasn't Gakpo.
Yeah.
And I could see at times when Liverpool were forced to play long, they really lacked an outball. And I think that's why Brighton end up pressing us so high, because they know Liverpool don't have an outball and they're struggling with build-up.
Yeah.
So it's like, why wouldn't you press us and force us into mistakes?
Yeah. Yeah. If you're down one of your better attackers and now you have like one of your weaker attackers, you're basically have isolated him up front, and that allows you to pull some of the defensive players up the line and press more aggressively. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a situation, no pressure on Minte whatsoever from the left side. Frimpong is pretty out of position. Puts a ball in. Viper breaches the line for a cutback. It looks offside to me, Ben.
It looked offside to me as well, like where the ball is, where Danny Welbeck's shoulder is.
Yeah.
And that's what I was really looking at. And like, I didn't, in the highlights, because I'm going to watch this game all the way through, I don't know if they drew the lines in the full game to show us where the lines were.
Yes. Do you know what the interesting thing to me is? Have you seen that still? I think it was Ruben Diaz. It was like City were playing someone. There's a situation where they show like a still of where lines are drawn.
Yeah.
And it's frames beforehand.
Yeah.
But they're not drawing the lines at the time they should when the ball was played.
Yeah.
I've seen this consistently. It's getting to the point where I don't trust the lines that are
Yeah.
in. Like, that's not where we want to be from a fan's perspective, but it does go in, and Liverpool ultimately conceding a chance there to begin with is unacceptable for me. If you give away chances in the 6-yard box, you're asking to concede goals, essentially, and that's what they do. And when they go 2-1 up, I've never had so little faith in a Liverpool team that they can score. And actually, I would say they are worse at 2-1 than they are 1-1.
Yeah. I know what it feels like to not have faith after the second goal goes in.
It's kind of like it just feels deflating for me. It's like, okay, now I want Liverpool to find a way to kind of put their stamp back on the game and get themselves back into it, but it just looks disjointed.
How did Brighton play after that second goal? Were they still as pressing? Did they sit off?
They were still on top of us.
They still wanted to win.
I mean, I'll get into the share of the stats. They give us some more of the ball, but a lot of the ball is in our first and second phase.
Okay.
We cannot be as impactful with the ball, I think, ultimately because of personnel on the pitch. Like, we don't have attackers.
Yeah.
Isak is injured, Salah is injured, Ekitike is injured. Anyone that could occupy the last line is gone. Gakpo is not a striker. He's barely a fucking winger, for God's sake. So, like, having him go up front, it kind of ruins our attacking structure for me. Yeah. And you could see it throughout the game. Like I said, they were looking for runners constantly, and we have no runners in the game whatsoever. Really, aside from Frimpong.
Yeah. Well, Frimpong was taken off earlier.
Yeah.
So.
Frimpong was subbed for, I believe it was a pretty bizarre sub.
Rio,
that's it. He comes on at 63rd minute, Rio. And I like that sub. Who does he move to right back? It's fucking Szoboszlai again. You move your best midfielder into defense. And by the end of the game, we had 2 fucking midfielders in our back line. Like Gravenberch and fucking Szoboszlai in the back line. Yeah, we concede, we go 2-1 down. And at that stage, I'm like, okay, let's see what we can do in terms of creating chances. I think the way we've gotten back into a lot of games in the last few weeks is set pieces. But the set piece delivery all game was poor. Either first man or overhit. Like, the way we've been scoring from set pieces is putting the ball under the bar, and Van Dijk gets his head on it somehow. It either bounces around and we can scramble it in, or he gets his head and he scores directly from it. But the set pieces were poor. I genuinely couldn't see a situation outside of Curtis Jones getting the ball and forcing the keeper into a save where we would score a goal, Ben. I cannot remember Liverpool being like that for the last 10 years.
Yeah. I feel like when you don't have that attacking prowess and you are struggling to have something like that, you need to be able to make a significant change. In order to come back into the game. We just felt like even if you don't have a player who's comfortable in a position, you're already losing.
I know.
Try something.
I agree.
Something different.
And I think, in honest defense, he tries a lot, but none of it works. And again, I will outright say this is not completely his fault. The sporting directors know we are light. They go into the season choosing to not replace Diaz. They chose to do that. They then get into January and they choose to not do something again. So they're happy with the state of the squad based on that behavior. And you can see it, really. He has no options to change the game off the bench. And a positive, though, I think where I was a little bit annoyed with Mamardashvili in the first half, I think his box commanding is way better in the second half. He comes to claim some crosses. He makes some decent saves, actually. But Liverpool still aren't really creating much. I think once we do make all of the subs, the formation looks a little bit all over the place. And you can see that no one knows what they're doing in the structure they're in. And it's like, of course, as a manager, right, you're just trying to make subs to try and make an impact on the game. But when your chance creation, what's the term, like method stops working, you've made too many changes and you've made it disjointed.
Yeah.
And that's at least for me what we saw in this game. He subs Konate off for fucking Chiesa, and once you make a defense, when you bring on a forward and you replace him with a centre back, Gravenberch then goes into centre back. I don't mind him from there because he can actually progress the ball a bit better than Konate, but it doesn't make a big impact on the game, aside from the fact that they don't know what they're doing in the defensive structure, and you can see it. Gravenberch doesn't. I mean, he's barely even a 6, let alone a centre back.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre for me, and it shows the lack of squad depth we have. And ultimately, the rest of the game goes this way. Liverpool really don't do too much. In fact, I see them playing long balls up to Wirtz. It's just the wrong way to use that guy.
Yeah.
Imagine like Wirtz's Leverkusen, like lumping it like he's Alessandro Garnacho.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are we playing at?
Yeah.
And then second half ends. I'll give you the stats for the second half. It's a damn reading for Liverpool. Liverpool generate 0.21 expected goals, 4 shots, 2 on target. Brighton batter us, frankly. 1.63 expected goals, 11 shots, 6 on target. They generate 3 big chances and miss 1 of them. Actually, they miss 2 of them and they score from 1 of them. That's the Danny Welbeck chance. And there's this situation, actually, where Liverpool completely switch off of a corner. And I'm like, guys, they're about to take the corner. Like, what are you doing? And Pfeiffer gets his head on it. I don't know how he missed.
Yeah.
Like, he should score, but he doesn't score. But it's like, how many times can you be given a lifeline and not learn from the situation you're in? And that's really where we are with Liverpool. I've been watching them this whole season and be like, okay, maybe we can find some sort of balance to how we're playing and like actually create clear attacking structure. They haven't been able to do it. And from my perspective, my qualifications for the manager staying was we make Champions League football and we create some sort of attacking output with the team we have. And I'm sorry to say, but none of those have happened to me. I think Champions League, it looks more questionable than it did a few weeks ago. We had a quote-unquote favourable run-in for a few weeks, and we've not been able to take advantage of it at all. And that's where we are.
I know you are disappointed with the manager. Does he get one more transfer window?
I don't think
See
they
what
can
happens
afford to do that,
until-
man.
Yeah.
And I'm going back to 15-16. They give, I'm going to call him an Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, Brendan Rodgers. They gave him another transfer window, and I think that was a mistake. They should have hired Jurgen when they had the chance to do it. Do I think that they'll do that? It's possible, because I know what our owners are like. Yeah. They're typically quite risk averse. They obviously think he's the man for the job, otherwise they wouldn't have given it to him to begin with. But I'll be honest, I don't want to see that. I don't. In fact, I would go as far as to say, we're in an international break right now. If there's a chance to change him now, do it. What's to lose? We've been shit already. It can't get much worse.
And who's your pick for that?
It's difficult, isn't it? Because I want Xabi Alonso, but if they can't get Alonso in early, it's going to have to be an interim. And I'll say this again. I don't want Steven Gerrard anywhere near this football club in a managerial perspective. I have such a romantic picture of Steven Gerrard in my head, and I do not want that to be changed. I don't want him to have to come in and what I think of Steven Gerrard changes. He has not shown what he needs in terms of his managerial career to be good enough to manage Liverpool. Let's leave it as that. If it is an interim, I would rather stick with Varna. If they can't get Xabi Alonso straight away, then wait till the summer. But I think it needs to be done. I just do. I've seen enough already. Some of the stuff the guy says in press conferences literally boggles my mind. I can't see a bunch of advantage to actively criticizing players. After the game, some of the stuff he said, like, he didn't say it directly, but it looks like he was basically saying, this isn't my fault, this is on the players. Bizarre. Yeah. All of it is bizarre. We lose 2-1 on the day. Could have lost by more. Our next game is City in the FA Cup, and I don't think we win that either. Our next game in the Premier League is Fulham at home, and I don't think we win that either, mate. So we're in a really difficult situation right now. Yeah, Champions League football, that's looking less and less likely. The worst I've felt about Liverpool for years, honestly, right now. And yeah, I'm kind of happy it is an international break, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, take a little break from football.
For sure. Let's get into League Cup final. We watched that together yesterday at Bluefoot. busiest I've ever seen Bluefoot, I think.
Yeah, it's one of the busiest I've seen Bluefoot. I think I've seen it busier only one other time. That was probably for World Cup USA versus Netherlands. I didn't even try to go there for the final because of how busy it was. We didn't even get inside the Bluefoot that day.
That's crazy.
We had to like try to watch it from the sidewalk on one of the outdoor TVs. And then, yeah, it was pretty wild. I was planning on getting there around like close to 9 o'clock, 30 minutes before
Couldn't have
kickoff. Jack was there already with Tyler watching Spurs, and he shot me a message. He's like, it's filling up. And I was like, all right, I'm going right now.
It started filling up like noticeably at halftime in that Tottenham game.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
And like City fans were there already.
Yeah.
So they were treating it like a cup final. They genuinely were.
Mickey Mouse Cup, in my opinion.
Fair enough. As Julian from AFTV said, they only get 100 grand from winning. Like, not even acknowledging the fact that they've won a trophy as well, which I find quite funny. But let's get into it then. So talk to me about the squad.
Yeah.
What do you think in terms of selections for both teams?
Yeah. I was kind of disappointed in some of the selections, largely because we didn't have people available.
Yeah.
As got injured midweek. Odegaard still isn't good enough. We heard Odegaard and Timber could be good enough to be back in this match, but they weren't, and I wonder if that's just precautions, and they're like, you know what, let's play this match out, and let's bring him back in, but they weren't even named on the bench. Someone who was named on the bench was Raya, and Kepa got the start, and Kepa has been the keeper in this competition so far. He's gotten Arsenal to the final. There's a lot of people who say, he deserves it. The man just sticks to, he deserves it. What do you think about that, Jack?
I think it's bollocks. Like, if Raya, for me, is the best keeper in the league, Kepa is not even top 10 best keeper in the league, you're actively choosing to pick a worse player out of sentiment, and I disagree with that.
Yeah.
I understand why he does it, because ultimately, let's put ourselves in Arteta's shoes a little bit. He is managing the player. He's managing the person. He's got you to the final. If you win that game, he can heap a bunch of praise on Kepa.
Absolutely.
It would make him feel great.
Yeah.
It would make the club feel good knowing you have a backup keeper that can secure you a win in a final. I mean, remember, like, when I've watched Liverpool win League Cups and FA Cups, and during those times, Alisson doesn't play in those finals.
Yeah.
It's all Kelleher.
Yeah.
I understand why he does it, but it's so costly in the end.
It is,
That obviously, in hindsight, and I use the word hindsight because that's really what we're talking from here.
Absolutely.
It seems like a bizarre decision. I personally wouldn't have done it either way because I don't think Kepa's anywhere near as good as Kelleher. Honestly, I don't. But he does it. We'll talk about how it costs you in a bit. But ultimately, I don't think that's even the surprising part of the selection for me. I think the surprising part of the selection is City start with Trafford.
Yeah.
And Ake.
Yeah.
Like, when was the last time you watched Ake play a game of football, mate?
Man, like the fall, dude. Like,
it's been ages.
It's been ages.
And I'm surprised he brings him in basically cold.
Yeah, basically
And
cold.
He plays pretty well.
He plays decently. I was surprised that Ake was getting the start. I honestly forgot Ake was around.
Yes.
I was like, I thought he got a loan somewhere, but I guess that didn't go through. But City lined up with 3 in the back. Basically.
Yeah. I mean, on paper, they line up with a back 3, and they build with a 3-2 in that game.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny, a 3-2 when they do build with a 3-2.
Yeah.
But, they changed their structure a little bit.
Yeah, they do change their structure a little bit. And you see it very early on in the game. Almost immediately, as soon as Arsenal get the ball, you just see this high line, and then with a 4, I'm not going to call it a press, with 4 stationary defenders kind of splitting up those lines, which I thought was unique. It's not something I've really seen a lot of what City does.
Liverpool did a lot of it under Pep Linders.
Okay.
And I think I'm not going to have Liverpool take credit for that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something Pep Linders has done in the past. Mm-hmm. The snake. Yeah, they line up with a really narrow 4, and their whole aim at possession. Yeah. Like, do not let Rice and do not let Zubimendi pick up the ball inside our structure. And that's basically how the game goes.
Yeah,
at least for me.
Yeah. I think the entire game kind of goes like that. And the solution for that, which Arsenal was doing pretty well in the first 15, 20 minutes of the game, was putting a long ball over the top to someone who can knock it down and take it beyond whoever's back there.
Yeah.
Being able to knock it down off of Ake is exactly what Gyökeres did over and over again.
Yeah.
Drove it down to the corner. and then try to get it back to someone in the box.
At the start, he was giving Ake some trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, for the first 20 minutes, arguably Arsenal were the better team.
Yeah.
They were finding joy in channels. For me, if you want to get the best out of Gyökeres, you play into channels for him. The game changes when, at least for me, and it doesn't directly change the game, but I think it switches a bit. Do you remember when Kepa comes out randomly?
Yeah.
And he has this tussle. I think it might be with Doku.
Yeah. That was in the second half, though.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel there's a specific time where the mentality switches and you start to give a bunch of the ball to City. I mean, that's how they want to play to begin with, right?
Yeah.
So they want a bunch of possession. They want to be able to build up ultimately from the second phase. They don't want to have to play around their box.
Yeah.
And I think Arsenal, they give up territory. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you could do that against the City team. And
yeah,
I'm not going to use the word hope. I don't think you could do that against the City team and consistently try and beat them on the counter. And I think you don't do a good job at that either. So it's kind of, you're caught in between two stools. It's like defending, pure defending, which is what you were doing for a bunch of that game.
Yeah.
But they were preventing you from playing to the out ball.
Yeah.
It was a really odd tactical situation.
Yeah. I think, I mean, there's a couple things with that like overall situation that we want to, I want to get into.
Yeah.
But like before we do that, like the general tactic was get the ball either to Kepa for him to throw or to kick it over, or give it to one of your center backs. Gabriel was one of those channels and one of those outlets to kick the ball long, and he's been that when we are further up the pitch, where Saliba is getting up to the corner of the 18, Gabriel stays a little further back and does like that cross ball.
Yeah,
and hasn't worked yet.
No,
it really hasn't worked that well at all. And I get what they're trying to do because Declan does those shots all the time, or those balls all the time across to Madueke or Saka. But this time, Gabriel's trying to do it long down into the channel to Trossard, and he does it 7 times. He has 7 balls, and only 2 of them find their man. That's a 29% accuracy in long balls.
It's not great.
It's not great. And I think there's 2 reasons why that happens. First, we just don't have the numbers up there. Like, we're stretched so far that, like, as soon as that ball goes above, you have Rodri or Bernardo Silva coming in and, like, going 2-on-1 and, like, suffocating that ball out.
Yeah, that's a big thing I noticed, too.
Yeah.
They had, like, a backup plan in case you played those long balls, and they were waiting for you to try and be combative with second balls, I think.
Yeah.
And it worked. Yeah, incredibly well.
Yeah, it worked really well. They were able to suffocate that, and that just made Arsenal just not have any rhythm.
Yeah.
Didn't have any tempo on the ball after those first 20 minutes.
When it stopped working, it made the guys delivering those balls tentative to play them. Mm-hmm. And because you were prevented from progressing centrally and prevented from playing long centrally, the only other option was out wide. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think you do well enough out wide. Like progressing the ball out wide. I think generally, actually, I don't think Arsenal typically progress the ball, mainly because you're so good at build-up that you find ways to overload the center, but they dealt with it. And they knew exactly how you would adjust to situations like that. Yeah. It was a really fascinating tactical battle.
Yeah. It was really interesting to see all that happen and unfold. And in that first half, like, City regained possession for like this 10-minute stint. And then that you kind of see this play that they keep trying over and over again. And what they do is they take the ball out wide on the right side.
Yeah.
And then it's usually either Cherki or Semenyo doing it. Semenyo in the first half was driving to the byline and trying to kick it over. In the second, we'll get into that. But like they keep doing this play over and over, and they try to go to the far post for someone on the back there.
Yes.
And Arsenal isn't really very zonal with their defense. They're not marking individuals because they find it, I feel like, a bit more like they're ensuring that their center backs are in the right positions in order to get and win the duels. But they're not really worried about the man because they're not man marking.
I think the situation for me, it was how in build-up, it was how they manipulate Trossard.
Yeah.
Trossard, there was parts of the game, right? And if you imagine that right side, so you've got Matheus Nunes, you've got Cherki, and you've got Semenyo.
Yeah.
I think most of their danger is generated on that side. And the reason is essentially what happens is Cherki often occupies that right half space, and Trossard was dropping into that position to stop it, basically all the time leaving Nunes as a free man.
Yep.
So in build-up, Nunes was consistently a free man.
Yeah.
In fact, he had the second most touches in the game.
That's
House
wild.
Nunes.
Yeah.
What happens then is it catches between two stalls.
Yeah.
Because like, do I press Nunes and leave Brian Cherky free?
Uh-huh.
And that was what was happening. So as soon as he picked up the ball, Trossard has to come out of midfield to press Nunes, and then he has a direct ball into Cherky. Now, what is Hincapié going to do in that scenario? Because he's trying to deal with Semenyo. So it's like, most of the time, Hincapié opted to stick with Semenyo and not directly press the ball.
Yeah.
And what it did is it just gave them a bunch of joy on that right side. And
Yeah.
they have quite a lot of control over the space of the game on that right side because of that overload they were creating.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like, they had so much control over that side. And I think that's Arsenal's weaker defensive side anyways. Arsenal tend to progress on the right side, and they have some of their stronger players there.
Yeah.
And, like, that was definitely, easily anyone can see it. And City took advantage of that and were able to really focus on shifting the ball to the other side and then doing that ball over to the top. I mean, Arsenal had some okay opportunities in that first half. Really, that was probably their best 20 minutes of the entire game, and then it's not really great from there. I feel like at a certain point, Arsenal don't know what they're doing.
No.
They have no idea, like, how to get out.
They completely stifle their build-up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
like,
you don't see that a lot.
Yeah. It was weird watching because it's like, I don't know what to do, and the players don't know what to do. Yeah. The players should know what to do.
Yeah. Do you think that there's a difference there if Raya plays? Mainly because of distribution. He's probably the best passing goalkeeper in the league.
I absolutely do think there's a change there if Raya plays. I think, as you mentioned, Kepa looks up. He's afraid of sending a pass over the top. He doesn't trust himself. I think Raya in those situations would, start to play a lot faster. And try to catch on the counter. I think he would do a bit more distribution. He'd probably even do more rotation with the defenders. He also has more confidence, and he might even tell, like, Gabriel, it's fine. You go ahead. You find a lane, and I will try to get it to you.
Actually, at times you see Arsenal play that way.
Exactly.
Where
they play sweeper.
Yeah. Where they basically use the lanes on the pitch they'll basically ask Saliba or Gabriel, drive in one of those lanes, and we'll have pivot players come deep to drop the ball to deliver it to you.
Exactly.
But they don't try that at all. I think a lot of it is to do with the confidence around the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Like, you're playing to the goalkeeper's strengths. And so, yeah, they do miss that opportunity. Let's get into the second half if we can.
Okay.
Second half is a whole different ballgame. When I look at this game in the first half versus second half, I imagine a game that you're playing with your big brother, and he's just kind of messing around with you, right? He's kind of like shoving you off the ball and, like, taking little pokes at the ball. He's like, doing some drag backs, but then, like, he kind of lets you tackle him and get the ball back. In the second half, he's kind of over it. It's like dinner time, and so he's like, first to three, let's go. And then he just dribbles around you and puts it in back of the net every single time. Like, it just felt like City had Arsenal's key.
Yeah.
Completely unlocked him in that second half.
Something I really like what City do in possession is they start O'Reilly at left back, and in possession they basically have him occupy half spaces. And Pep, after the game, basically alluded to why he did that is because he wanted him to box crash.
Yeah.
Because he knew they were going to get chances out wide for cutbacks.
Yeah.
And that's where the first goal comes from.
Yeah.
And we'll get to...
And before that first goal, if everything changes when Kepa gets that yellow card.
Yeah.
He goes out, he tries to... And if he went faster and he headed the ball out. If he went faster and he booted the ball out. But
that's what he lets the ball.
He lets the ball bounce. Yeah. Why is it letting the ball bounce? And you have someone like Doku coming up on you? Like, what are you doing then?
You have, like, for me, the scariest, like, goal winner from the wing possession.
Yeah.
One of them in the world. Just get rid of it.
Yeah. Go in, even if you miscue and miskick the ball and it goes somewhere else, at least Doku's not there. You trust on your defenders to come sweep up the ball, or you just boot it out and, like, let the team reset.
Yes. Absolutely.
That happens, and I think City just kind of see that, and they're like, okay, we got this.
foot forward now. Like,
Yeah,
let's,
foot forward.
Let's try and create some more territorial dominance.
Yeah.
Try and put this keeper under pressure. I actually think through a lot of the game, I think Arsenal do a great job at defending their box.
Yeah.
Like, the way I put it in my notes is the centre backs are constantly in the shadow of the two pivot players.
Yeah.
Like, shutting them from side to side, making sure when City do go from side to side that they're trying to prevent overloads being created. For me, like you said, as soon as that happens, City turn up the tempo a little bit. They start moving it slightly quicker from side to side. You can start seeing where those overloads start hurting Arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely. What I noticed, so in the first half, there's that corner play that I talked, or I guess we'll call it the far post play that they keep going and doing over and over again. Right in the first half, Holland's kind of like the target man on the far post, with Riley kind of taking up opportunities and spaces in the middle of the box and just like being another target person. We'll get to the goals now, and so I was talking about that far post play that they were doing over and over, right? In the first half, Holland was kind of the target man. O'Reilly was kind of a man in the box.
Yeah.
He's tall. He's going to be.
Guy,
he's there to kind of distract the defenders and the keeper. But in the second half, Holland moves up to the near post.
Yes.
And then O'Reilly's, as you said, box crashing. He comes in, and who's on him? It's Zubimendi and Saka. Saka's not going to come into the box with O'Reilly. Zubimendi will come into the box. And he is a good duel winner, a good aerial duel winner. But I think with that first goal, it was a huge keeper error.
It was.
But
that's what catches Zubimendi flat-footed, see?
Yeah.
I think if Kepa frankly, if you're not sure, just punch the ball out.
Punch the ball out, put it over your own net and get him a corner.
What he did was the worst thing he could do in that scenario.
Yeah.
And what it does, essentially, he kind of palms the ball over his head. Does it bounce around, or does O'Reilly just get his head straight?
It has one bounce and O'Reilly gets his head to it.
And I think that catches Zubimendi flat-footed.
Yeah.
Because if he could see the ball was directly being played into the box and Kepa wasn't at his front post at that stage, he follows O'Reilly in the box.
Yeah.
But because he thinks, okay, keeper's got this, if it comes near post, it can't get over him, I'm okay, I can hold my position. Yeah. That completely changes the game for me. Goals change games.
Yeah, goals change games. I mean, they get their goal and they're ready for another one. They see that Arsenal are flustered and they don't know what to do. They don't know how to play against this set play. And they do it again 4 minutes later, exact same thing. But this time, it goes completely over Kepa. Riley is right there. He knocks it in for another goal.
I have to say, the build-up to that goal, it's excellent.
It's really good build-up. And the other point about how they're doing this is, so we talk about the donut of despair for Arsenal, right? And how Arsenal don't have any penetrating passes through after the donut of despair. City just kind of showed Arsenal how to do it.
Yeah, they did. And do you know how it's done for me? It's tempo changes.
Absolutely. It's just tempo changes.
For me, the idea is okay, we're passing side to side for the idea of, if we do it slowly and we're consistently doing it slowly, we speed up tempo to create overloads.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And if you pass slowly side to side, you're never going to create overloads because you just allow the team to shuttle over and take positions and reduce overloads.
Yeah.
They don't do that.
Yeah.
In that second half, they're moving it really quickly side to side consistently, and it keeps your fullbacks really honest.
Yeah.
I think it's Martinelli in at that stage when they score the second goal. Not yet.
No.
But pretty much exactly carbon copy of the situation.
Yeah.
Is it Nunes that gets the assist for the second goal?
Nunes gets the assist for the second goal.
Yeah.
Tricky comes up. Doku gets a ball through. Tricky picks it up, brings it up, and then does a little layoff pass, drag back. Nunes comes up. No one's on him because at this point, Kapi is no longer playing on the wing. He's now a center back,
basically,
because they're they're going to be doing this play. I think Arteta noticed, hey, they're doing this over and over again. Get more people in the box. Don't worry about them doing that. If you can win the duel in the box, you're good to go. Yeah. Return the play.
And that's kind of where I come back to. Arsenal defend their box really well throughout the game.
Yeah.
But like I say a lot, Arsenal have a plan to stop them, but they don't have a plan to hurt them.
Yeah.
Throughout the game, really.
Yeah.
Maybe they do have a plan, but City find a way to stifle them ultimately.
Yeah.
And I think it just really gets into your players' heads in possession. And you can see that the trend consistently goes throughout the game. Kepa makes a mistake. You get even deeper, and they get more confident. Yeah. Cherki is the best player on the pitch by a mile for me in that game.
Yeah.
Absolute baller.
Yeah, yeah. He had a really good game.
Yeah.
Was really impactful for them. And then after that second goal, that's when we start making changes.
Yes.
Havertz and Capier come off for Madueke, Calafiori.
Yeah.
A little too late in my opinion.
Yeah.
For both those changes.
What minutes were the subs? Do you remember?
I think they came in like the 67th minute
Okay.
is when.
Is it just after the goal?
Just after the goal.
Okay.
They were getting ready to come on before the goal, after the first goal.
Yeah.
And they didn't make the sub fast enough. And then right after the goal, they came in.
You know an argument I have too? So in possession, if O'Reilly is inverting, he's typically pretty high up the pitch. He is the left side of that four, essentially.
Yeah.
Like when City are out of possession,
Yeah.
you have two basically 6'4" fuckers up front.
Yeah.
Just play it over the four.
Yeah.
Let Havertz try and nod the ball down.
Yeah.
Have him combine with Gyökeres. And
Yeah.
I just don't think you do that, especially like in those situations where, to me, I can see Ben White isolated on the right side. It's like either clip it to him or clip it over the four. But it's just, I think it's rigidness. Like you have a way you want to do it, and when that stops, you need to find an alternative solution, and it just doesn't happen really.
Yeah, I think a huge part with that is like Arsenal just wasn't able to win those second balls, and it's because I think if you watch Arsenal versus City in this game and the confidence that they have, they're not expecting to win the first ball.
No,
and so whoever's supposed to win the second ball is always caught flat-footed, and then you don't win the second ball.
Yeah,
and every single time, City is like, we will win every single ball, and it's very much that we will win this kind of ball mindset. And so when you have these isolated attackers who should be able to get these balls, and they're no longer winning these balls because you look at the math and the odds when they are 4-on-2 or 3-on-1 in those places, you're not trusting them to get the ball. And you don't attempt those passes. And even when they do, you don't have someone else coming to support because you're not expecting them to get the ball.
You're correct. And like, you tried to adjust to the four by dropping fullbacks into build-up situations and then using Havertz as the free man to try and like go side to side to try and find places to pick up the ball. That typically works. But it relies on the idea of we're going to bait the press and have them kind of come onto us a little bit. And they just do not budge, man. They're literally stationary for most of that. So it looks like such a bizarre game. Yeah. Because so much of the game is played with the ball at Kepa's feet, waiting for them to close him down, and they never really do.
There's an entire minute when Kepa just has the ball.
Yeah, pretty much.
An entire minute when it's him and he passes it like left and right, and you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we've talked about this high line a little bit. Want to dive a little deeper into that real quick?
Yeah, we could do that.
Off? I mean, we know the results. Let's do that. We can go into some of these other stats that I want to share about the game.
So I'll talk about the approach to the four.
Yeah.
So I think it's, like I said, I think it was the biggest tactical emphasis of the game, and I think that's really what determined how the game was played. Essentially, the way it works is City were using a very narrow four up front to prevent Arsenal's pivots from getting on the ball. Haaland and Cherki essentially using what we call cover shadows to stop the pivots from getting on the ball. What I want you to think of is like, if you face directly forward, the cover shadow is what's directly behind you, and they do that incredibly well. They're the two most central players of the four. Intention and build-up, and you can see that a lot was trying to overload the centre. But because of that narrow four, they can never play into the center, especially the stationary nature of the four. And you can see it. There are times where they even bring Saka into the center of the pitch to try and pick up the ball. And he's just being blocked out, essentially, through a lot of it. There are specific times where they do get to build quickly. And because the outside player is slow at picking up the ball or slow at pressing the fullback that picks up the ball, it's typically... There are times where it's Calafiori late in the game, and Capier managed to do it a couple of times. What that does is, because that covering player is too slow to get to the fullback, essentially creates an overload on Matheus Nunes. And what I want you to think of is, do you remember when Calafiori hits the post late in the game? Yeah. That is from that exact situation, where they managed to build out quickly. Semenyo doesn't get out to the fullback fast enough. Yeah. And you manage to progress the ball that way because you're playing with pace. Yeah. It's literally how the game goes. Yeah. Like, the four, can we get past the four quickly? No. Then our only other option is to play over the top, and it doesn't always work.
Yeah, I think what happens, and like City know that Arteta Pep knows Arteta wants to control the ball. He don't want to give.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to give up the ball because he knows that if he gives up the ball, it's going to be hard for him to take it back from
Yep.
City. And so they continue doing this no press high line, and that just forces them to go over. Yeah, sure. City's gonna say we're gonna get a couple opportunities, but then you basically have 4 up top and 5 in the back, and because of that, you know that you're gonna have enough time and space to crowd out whoever has the ball
And that's exactly
win the ball
what
back.
happened.
And they win it back, they progress it back, and then Arsenal's then stuck in a deep block.
Yes.
And then what needs to happen is it needs to go out for a goal kick, and that's about it. That's the only thing Arsenal can do at that point. They need to force a goal kick somehow.
And it's really tough.
Yeah, it's hard to force a goal
because they have players that are directly driving into the box on the byline consistently. I actually think Doku has quite a quiet game.
Yeah,
it's really the combination of the Semenyo, Nunes, and Cherki on that right side that creates most of Arsenal's problems. That's really how the game goes. I think we've summarized it really well, to be honest with you.
I want to talk through some. Sorry, go ahead.
How are you feeling after the game? Like, as an Arsenal fan, do you think it changes the dynamic of the title race, or do you think it's completely separate and Arsenal will just carry on where they left off?
You know, I hate hearing stats about like how important games are, especially by broadcasters. But there was this one stat that was happening in the socials, and everyone was talking about it. Pep Guardiola has won the Carabao Cup 3 times and has come back to win the Premier League all 3 times after winning the Carabao Cup. It's kind of a scary thing to think about, right? It gives them a drive to come back and win the league. And so when people say the league's done, Arsenal's going to win the league, I'm very much like you, is no, until it's mathematically done, I'm not going to believe that.
Until our name is put on it, it's not finished yet.
Yeah, but while we're at the Bluefoot and I was watching the game, and like at the 93rd minute, they show the Carabao Cup, and you see the engraver tracing out what he's going to write. And like my heart broke in that moment.
Yeah.
I'm like, this could have been like a joyous moment, and it wasn't. And I think that was a big thing for it. He decided to take today off because we also had STF City last night, and I was expectant to have like a really happy, fun, joyous day.
I think we had a good day.
I think we still had a good day nonetheless. But I think, for the rest of the league, take it game by game. 7 finals.
Do you think other teams try and approach Arsenal's build-up in the way City did?
Absolutely, but I think that City have a very specific group of people who can play that kind of football and can stay focused and play that kind of football.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is if people do come out, Arteta is going to find something else to do.
That's ultimately what the game is, man.
Yeah.
It's like tactical adjustments after tactical adjustments.
Yeah.
Most of the reason things happen is because of it's a response to a tactical adjustment that's been made on you. I think I'll talk about it from City's perspective. City know they can beat you now. So they can go into the Etihad with a huge amount of confidence.
Yeah.
You need to prevent that from happening.
Yeah. I think this is going to be very important. Arsenal's still in 3 competitions.
Yeah.
City is also still in 2 more competitions.
FA Cup. They're about to school us. Yeah, and then
they have a site for the domestic treble.
Yeah, they do. They've done that before as well.
So I am feeling better today than I did yesterday, but that's usually how I feel after an Arsenal loss.
Need to sleep on it.
Need to sleep on it. This is Arsenal's 5th loss of the season.
It's nothing. Liverpool have lost 2 times that in the league alone, by the way. So you're doing all right.
Yeah.
Carabao Cup Final. Arsenal lose 2-0 on the day. City win. Did you say Pep's 4th Carabao Cup Final? Or Carabao
That's
Cup
his
victory?
That's his 5th Carabao. He's had the most Carabao Cup wins.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's actually nuts.
That's their 9th win for City. They're 1 off of Liverpool.
Fucking hell. Let's prevent that from happening, shall we?
Sorry, I'll take that one. It's on me.
Let's get into the overviews then. So on February 11th, actually February 12th, episode 11, my good friend Ben and I decided to kind of predict what we expected throughout the next Premier League games for several teams. So we did it for the title race. We did it for top 4 race or top 5 race, however that ends up panning to be. And then we also did it for the relegation battle. We're going to overlook the results we had in those games, look at the predictions we made in terms of points totals and see how right we are. Do you want to start at the bottom or the top of the table? we've just spoken about City and Arsenal.
Yeah, let's start at the bottom.
So the teams we cover here, there are a couple of teams that we didn't review because we didn't expect them to be in the position. We don't talk through leads. In fact, I don't think we cover relegation at all in that episode.
No, we don't.
It's just top 5 in Champions
League.
Yeah. So like that's where we are really. The teams we've included in the relegation battle are Leeds, Forest, Tottenham, and West Ham. Let's talk about their last 5. So you take on Leeds.
Yeah. We haven't talked about Wolves here because they are so far behind.
Same as Burnley.
For Leeds in the last 5, they drew against Villa, had a loss against Man City at home, lost against Sunderland at home, drew Palace away, and drew Brentford at home. Total of 3 points in the last 5 games.
Relegation form.
Absolutely relegation form. Completely different from what they were doing earlier in the season.
It's weird, actually. They had a spell where they didn't lose any games.
Yeah.
Switched to like a 5-2-3 and really aggressive fullbacks.
Yeah.
That has stopped working for them.
I think they've also had a couple of defensive injuries, which is kind of
really
big on them. I think Goodmanson was gone for a little
while. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
So
Calvert-Lewin stopped scoring.
Calvert-Lewin stopped scoring.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't he like 9 goals in same amount of games at some point?
Yeah,
something like that,
he was like 7 goals in a row. Or goals in 7 games in a row was about to beat the record. Yeah.
I mean, we've drawn against them twice this year, Leeds. Yeah. In pretty much that exact situation. Very aggressive. Do I think they're going to get relegated? I don't. They're in it mathematically, but I think they'll find enough points to be able to get through it. I'll cover Forest. So Forest last 5. A loss at home to Liverpool. Brighton away, a loss. Man City away, a draw, which is a huge result. Fulham at home, a draw. And then the game that I watched with our buddy Tyler yesterday is they batter Spurs at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah.
That is a crazy result for me.
Insane result. I mean, Forest really needed that result. That's a 6-point result.
So did Spurs, mate.
Yeah.
And it was abject.
Yeah.
Ultimately. Do I think Forest are going to get relegated? So I still think they have more chance to go down than Tottenham do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think when it comes to Spurs, and I mean, we're going to get into the last 5 for Spurs in a minute. It's not good reading. I think Spurs are about to get a few players back.
Okay.
So Bergvall is just coming back. Archie Gray's hit a good amount of form. I think
Kulu's
the issue
doing better too.
Yeah, I think Archie Gray has been actually pretty good. I think he's been one of their players of the season, honestly. I think what they go wrong with Archie Gray is they don't let him play his actual position enough. Like, they constantly put him at like right back or right wing back. He is a DM. Let him play in that position. And from my perspective, like, they've already been poor this year. You should be trying to play those young players into the positions they're eventually going to play in. I'd like to see them start with like a pivot, Bergvall, Gray, and then as attacking mid, you could use Xavi Simons at this stage. Eventually, that could change into Maddison or Kulusevski, however you want it to. But Spurs in their last 5 got hammered to Arsenal at home. They lost to Fulham away. They lost to Palace away. Actually, one of them might be at home. And the Palace game is actually at home.
Okay.
They lose 4-1 to Palace. Get a disastrous fucking draw against Liverpool, which I think is our worst result of the season.
Yeah.
If you look at them against Forest, they are not a good football team, and we gave them a point.
Yeah.
So, and then they get absolutely scored against Forest 3-0 at home. Their points total in 5 games is 1.
Yeah.
And that's really what's dragged them deeply into it.
Yep. Yeah, I think this last period after Thomas Frank was shows how much work needs to be done on this entire squad.
For me, their mistake wasn't letting Frank go. They should have done that 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Their mistake is not doing it early enough. Because now they're really up against it.
Yeah.
I don't think they are going to go down. I still don't. We will end up previewing the next 5 games for all of the teams we discussed today.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that in a little bit more depth. But I think they'll be okay, personally. West Ham last 5. Bournemouth at home, they draw. Liverpool away, they lose 5-2. Weird game from Liverpool's perspective. Fulham away, they lose. Man City at home, they somehow managed to get a draw from that.
Yeah.
Wild for City.
Yeah.
And then Villa away yesterday, they lose 2-0. Their points total in the last 5 games is 2 points. Again, relegation form.
Yep.
Best form here is Forest. New manager. He's managed to at least give them some sort of attacking structure that they can play off of.
An experienced manager who has escaped relegation with different teams.
True, he did it with Wolves.
Yeah.
You're actually right there. Let's talk about the points totals and where each team are in the league at the moment. So in 15th, it's Leeds United, 31 games played, 33 points. 16th place is Nottingham Forest, 31 games played, 32 points. 17th place is Tottenham Hotspur, 31 games played, 30 points. 18th is West Ham, 31 games played, 29 points. It's very tight. One change of result really changes how this looks.
Yeah.
And that Forest win yesterday for them is so massive.
Yeah.
Because it's basically really put Spurs under some pressure. So that's the relegation picture. Any surprises to you here of any of these results? I mean, the City draws are crazy.
The City draws are probably the biggest surprises in these results from these relegation sides.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
We'll keep an eye on that one. Let's get into the UCL races then.
Yeah.
You start with Man United.
Yeah, Man United in the last 5, they had Everton away, which was a win. Then Palace home, which was a win. Newcastle away was a loss. And that was actually their first loss for Carrick in the Premier League. Well, that's the only thing they're playing in right now. Then we have Villa at home, which is a win, pretty significant win.
Yeah,
convincing really too. Impacts the entire table there. And then Bournemouth away, which was a draw.
Weird game, that one. I actually watched that game. I thought Bournemouth offensively at times were toothless. Alex Scott is some footballer, though.
Yeah.
I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
How many points did we both predict? And what was the actual result?
I predicted 11 points. I thought that Newcastle, actually, I thought Villa was going to be a draw.
Yes.
And then with another draw in there. And then, Jack, you had 10 points on their actual 10 points.
I did. So I think I had them, I didn't have them beating Villa, if I remember, but I did have them picking up 10 points from 15. Yeah. And that is what happened. I think they're, at least for me, I think out of all the teams we're about to discuss, I think they're in the most comfortable position to get Champions League football.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree with me, but...
No, I think they are. I think largely because they have, one game a week. They have a pretty healthy squad right now.
I mean, it's the same as Chelsea now, I think. Actually, they're still in the FA
Cup. Chelsea's,
Port Vale.
Going
to go through to the semis, probably.
Yeah, let's go on Chelsea.
Sure. So Chelsea in the last 5. Burnley at home, they draw. That was a shocking result. Arsenal away, they lose. Quite a tight game. They get a red card, if I remember, and that really changes the game. Villa away, they win 4-1, hammered them. And then they lose to Newcastle at home and Everton away. You predicted 10 points. I predicted 11 points. Their actual points total was 4.
It's wild.
Yeah. And that's, we'll get into Liverpool in a minute, but I think that's the only reason Liverpool are still in it, mate.
Yeah.
They've been worse than us somehow in the last 5. You touch on Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool last 5. Forest away was a win. West Ham home was a win. Wolves away was a loss.
Shocking result.
Drew Spurs
Shocking
at home, and then lost Brighton. Last week.
You predict 13, I predict 13, and the actual points total we get is 7 points.
It's wild.
The thing that's frustrating to me about this is, and we'll get into it in the next episode, but we have a run of games, man, that are not easy in the Premier League.
Yeah.
In fact, in our next 6 games, we play almost all of the teams we're competing with here.
Yeah.
We play Villa, we play Chelsea, and we play United.
It's going to be a pretty crazy battle.
It's going to be nuts.
Yeah.
It's going to be nuts.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Villa. So Villa last 5, they've been really poor, and it's why they've been dragged into it, and it's why we need to discuss them in this now. Leeds at home, they drew. Wolves away, they lost, and that was Wolves' first big win under Rob Edwards.
Yeah.
That was the game before we played them.
Yeah.
Chelsea at home, they lose. They get battered against Chelsea. They convincingly lose to United as well. And they beat West Ham yesterday. Actual points of 4 out of 15 is pretty bad.
If we had actually looked at this game, I would have predicted 11 points.
Yeah,
easy.
me too. Based on how they were the 5 games prior.
Yeah.
They were... So, Villa have been... If anyone wants to look at, their advanced metrics, Villa have been lucky all season. They're overperforming XG in almost every game. They're overperforming XGA as well. So they've been pretty fortunate. They don't score many goals. They don't concede a lot of goals. But they're in a situation at the moment where they were pretty convincingly, at least for me, finishing 3rd. And now they might finish outside the top 5.
That's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah. Should we get into the title race?
Let's get into the title race.
Let's start with second place. So you start with Man City.
Yeah, Man City, last 5. Newcastle home was a win. Leeds away was a win. And then Forest away was a draw. Surprising. West Ham home was a draw. Yep. Another surprise. And Palace had to get rescheduled for FA Cup.
Yes.
For Carabao Cup.
Carabao Cup Final.
Carabao Cup Final. We both predicted 15 points in this, and that was a moment when I realized, like, oh wow, that title race is very much on. Actual points is 8, but they haven't played their Palace game yet. But
could be 11.
Could be a maximum.
That's still
11.
an underperformance for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those 2 draws are nuts. Yeah. Forest, they have enough chances to win that game. West Ham, on the other hand, the draw was the fair result in my opinion. Although actually, doesn't matter. Don't they have 1 shot and 1 on target? West Ham and Mavropanos scores a corner.
Yeah.
You could say that's unlucky, but it is what it is. They play the game state there, West Ham.
Yeah.
Their actual could be 11, could be 8, could be 9, but we both predicted 15, and we were pretty wrong in that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll get into Arsenal. Arsenal's last 5. In fact, their last non-win in the Premier League was a away draw to Wolves. Wild game, really.
Crazy game.
They have 2-0 lead, and Wolves start to play a bit. Pretty much the last kick of the game, Wolves equalise.
Yeah.
Spurs away, they hammer them. Chelsea at home, they win narrowly. Brighton away, they win really narrowly. And Everton, it's like a last 10 minutes, Dalman special, ultimately. Ben predicted 13 points. I predicted 13 points, and their actual points total was 13 points.
Yeah. I mean, we both thought there was going to be a draw there. I thought the draw was going to be Brighton away.
Yeah.
You saw the draw was going to be Chelsea home.
Yeah.
None of us predicted a Wolves away.
And it goes to show, man, the league is nuts.
It's wild.
How are you feeling about that last 5 for Arsenal?
Last 5 for Arsenal feel good. If I was going to take a loss in this stage of the league or of the season, a final, like a Carabao Cup final, is the loss I'd want to take.
Absolutely.
I don't want to lose any more in the league. I can't afford to.
Although you have a buffer.
We have a buffer, and the only loss we can afford is one against City.
Yeah.
Apart from that,
if they win their Palace game, they go 6 points behind.
Yeah.
And then they get to play you, so they could potentially be 3 points behind.
Yeah.
So that would be the game. I mean, you obviously don't want to lose that because that's basically a 6-point game. But there's nothing there really outside of the Wolves result that surprises me. I expect you to win all of those games, and you basically won them by hook or by crook. Brighton is really tight. Mm-hmm. You get a goal early. In fact, wasn't that goal 0.01 XG?
Yeah.
It's nuts. You don't ever see that.
No.
And then Everton, it takes you like last stage of the game to get a win, but you come away with those 13 points that we predicted.
Yeah.
From Liverpool perspective, I mean, I think Liverpool have been rubbish all season. This spell, which, like I said, quote unquote easy spell, we make fucking hard for ourselves. The Forest away win, we actually watched that up in the cabin. Liverpool, do they deserve to win that game? No. We get a goal basically in the last few minutes of the game. The whole of the first half, Forest were peppering us. But we don't concede, and we managed to get away with the win. West Ham was an odd game. We win 5-2, and it didn't feel like a 5-2 game whatsoever. Wolves away, we lose that game. They create 0.4 XG and score 2 goals. The last shot, I think, was like 0.04 XG. Massive deflection. I've seen this story plenty of times this season where we concede like 90-plus minute goals. Spurs home, we get a goal. Not early, but we get a goal. But then I think the whole of that game, Spurs are troubling Liverpool.
Yeah.
Mainly through energy, like through endeavour. They don't create a bunch of chances, but I'd say the better chances in the game fall to Spurs there. And they could beat us on the day, but they don't.
Yeah.
Brighton, we just covered. We got absolutely scored in that game, in my opinion. And then we come away with 7 points. We both predicted 13. Liverpool this season. Yeah. Not very good. But yeah, that's the episode today, guys. Anything else you want to touch on, Ben?
No. This is cathartic. Glad we could do this.
Yeah.
That's the point of this, right?
Me too, exactly. It's a chance to chat about football. We can be as introspective as we want to be. Yeah. We could speak about things that happened, things we saw. If you guys liked this episode of the Regista Football Podcast, please like us on Spotify, follow us on YouTube, all of that good stuff. Apart from that, my name is Jack. I'm out.
Cheers, Jack. I'm Ben.
Cheers, Ben.